Welcome back. So in the previous video we have added all the necessary screens as well as we have prepared the assets for our home page. So let's jump in and finish or start working on our home screen. So I will close the about as well as the levels screens, and now I will stick with the home.js. So first of all, I will use the snippets that we are already familiar with for React Native, which is RNFES. Okay, React Native function export or style or whatever. I will hit enter. That will go ahead and generate this snippet for me. I will go ahead and use it as our home template, but for us, just to ensure that we are on the right place, I will say home, and I will go to my app.js to render our home page. First of all, I will remove some of the stuff that I don't need. For example, I will remove this text right here. I will render my home like so. Oops, let me just import it and add it like so. That will import it up top. Let's take a look. Okay, close this dude, and we should be able to see our home right here. I will get rid of the default style, the background color, and all of this stuff. Give it a save, take a look. We can see we have the same problem that we had from the previous application, which is that the iOS simulator will skip some of the stuff that we have rendered, or even the Android emulator. And very easy to fix that. For the iOS simulator, we will replace the view. I will hit Command and D by selecting the view to replace the view with the safe area view. Okay, which is the same component that will go ahead and save us from getting our content to be cut by the iOS screen. And for the Android emulator, we have this status bar. I will just say hidden to be true. We will talk about more advanced way to fix these type of errors. I will give it a save, take a look. Now everything should work as intended. Okay, and by the way, if you have noticed, if I comment out this line, the status bar, we can see we have the status bar for the iOS, but we are hiding it, okay, just to fix it on the Android emulator. But again, we will talk about more the appropriate way of fixing this stuff is by applying padding, but I will talk about that more later on. Let's focus on finishing our home page. Okay, if we take a look here, we have this background image. Now I will go ahead and create a reusable piece for this background image right here. So let's go ahead and do that. In my components, I will right click and choose a new file. Let's call it background wrapper.js. Okay, so background wrapper.js. What I will do here, I will generate React Native snippet right here, and I will replace the view over here with an image background component. So image background like so. So we have a couple of props that we need to receive. The first one is the children that we want to render, because this component will work as a wrapper for a specific content. So we need the children of that wrapper so we can display them. So I will go ahead and render them here. So children like so. This is the first one right here. And since the image will be different from a screen to screen, so I will specify the source to be our image source, which will be receiving it as a props. So I will say image source like so. So that will give us two props, the image source as well as the children. And now we are stuck with the style. So we need to go ahead and give it as the style one. So I will go ahead and say style equal to styles dot, let's call it background. We don't need to pass it as a props. Okay, that's not necessary, because what we want to do very easily just to extend the full height of the screen by setting the flex to be 1. Okay, or you could say height and width to be 100%, and that will also works. Okay, I will replace in our home.js, I will replace this view with our background wrapper. So background wrapper, which is the component that we have created in a second, and I have to give it the image source to be equal to some sort of require statement. So require, and I have, okay, maybe you are not familiar with that type of syntax, so I have to import the image up top. So import the background okay, from, and I will give it the path to the assets fold, oops, the assets, then the home, then the background dot jpg. By the way, the required syntax that I have used, it is just an older syntax that you could use, but now since we have the ES6, then we could go ahead and use it. So I will pass the background over here, okay, so background like so. I give it a save, take a look, now we have it over here. And by the way, if you are wondering why we have this space right here, this is because of the image dimensions that I have added. Okay, so if I go ahead and here, for example, change the height to be, let's say 100%, oops, 100%, and the width as well. So the width also 100%. Give it a save. If we take a look, we can see nothing got changed. Nothing changed right here. And the problem is that even if you, for example, disable the flex right here and take a look, we can see nothing got changed. Why is that? Because the image that I have imported right here, it's small. Make sense? So the image that I have right here, originally it's small. So I just need to change the dimension right here. I need to change the image itself. And to prove that, what I will do, I will go ahead and delete this image. Okay, and I will just use anyone. For example, we could use this one, I guess. So I will drag it and drop it on our home page. I will just change the name to be background, so we don't have any props. We don't have any problem with importing that. So background.jpg. And if you take a look on the iOS simulator, I didn't change anything. I only changed the image itself because I have a problem with the dimensions. By the way, this could happen if you download a small image, and if I get the flex right here and delete these dudes, we will stick with the same result. This is just to prove that I have imported the wrong image, and I didn't want it to solve it behind the scenes. So maybe guys, you are gonna get this situation, so I just want to show you how to solve it. That's pretty much it. So we have our background. Now here we have two options, either to add an overlay as the same way that we have did it right here, which is something that I don't want to show you because you already know how to add that, which is to create a component for that will works as a wrapper. Okay, here you could, for example, add the overlay component and just change, add a dark layer on top of the image, but this is something that I don't want to show you. What we could do, we could go ahead and add this, make it like blur. Okay, and to do that, for example, we could add it right here. The background image receive a parameter called blur radius. Okay, I'm not sure how to spell it, but let me just check the name. Okay, so oh no, not right here, not on the background wrapper, but on the image background itself. Okay, right here. So we could say blur radius is equal to a value. Okay, and by the way, you can give it any value. Feel free to play around with this. For example, 7, that will make it like so. If we, for example, make it 70, we are gonna get a completely blur like so. Okay, again, what the best thing to do right here is to pass it as a props to make it different from screen to screen. Okay, so I will say just it is the blur radius. Okay, I will pass it over here. It is just like will make it more dynamic. In our home page, I will say our blur radius is equal, for example, to 4 or 5 or any number that you want. Okay, let's say for example 8. Okay, and there you have it like so. By the way, if you ask for my like my personal preference, what I prefer to add, for example, this kind of overlay, because the overlay, the dark overlay, will give me more ability to see the content clearly, to see my button. Like it's more, I think it's more nice. But this is, I can't teach you everything, and you can pick whatever you want. And yeah, basically that's pretty much it. We have built our home page with only one component, but it is reusable. So of course we need to add our buttons, because if you take a look, we have 2 buttons right here with the same style. In the next video we are going to build that, so I will see you in that one.